Vietnam's fairy tale, the tale of the common Iora. Once upon a time, there was an aunt and a nephew living together. The aunt was old. Her husband had died many years before. The nephew was about 12 years old, being an orphan. They were poor. The small rice field did not give them enough to live on, so every day they had to catch filler crabs and snails or collected fruits for food. For the year with good harvest, they were not quite sufficient, but they lived happily enough. Day by day, the nephew followed his aunt to the field, singing cheerfully. One year, unfortunately, the harvest was so bad. Then the drought came, scared over the next crop too. Without rain, ponds and lakes dried up completely. The fields cracked and split. Like all the poor people, the aunt and the nephew went to catch crabs and snails in the shallow areas. Then even the crabs and snails eventually disappeared. Rice in their house had run out so long. They wondered how to survive. Strong people could go up into the forest to cut woods in exchange for food, but the nephew and aunt, being weak, could only suffer hunger at home. The death was threatening them. Luckily, that morning, a neighbor came over to inform both of them that there was some rice field in the neighboring village being just right for the harvest. The aunt was too weak to stand up steadily. Only the nephew was somewhat alert. He struggled to sit up. A neighbor gave him a bowl of vegetable soup. After taking the soup, the nephew felt revived. He quickly got up to follow them. They arrived just in time for the harvest. There were just a few reapers, but many gleaners. Everyone was hungry, but they gleaned so strong. They took a risk and jumped into cutting the rice, ignoring the landowner's whip on their backs. It was not until the afternoon that the nephew brought the rice back home. He only had a handful of rice stalk, about the size of a broom, but he did not care. He pounded, winnowed, roasted, and then ground. Just a while later, he poured it into the pot and put it on the stove. When the pot of porridge started boiling, the aunt suddenly jerked and moaned. The nephew hurriedly went to check on her. She groaned for the stomach ache, asking him to get her some ginger. The nephew hesitated, but seeing that she seemed to be in serious condition, he quickly ran to the village to get it. After the nephew left, the aunt struggled to sit up and kept a fire for the porridge in the kitchen. When the porridge was cooked, she added salt and took a sip. Wherever the soup went, her flesh and skin seemed to come back to life. Seeing that the nephew had not returned yet, she scooped out a bowl for him, then she ate her bowl. In a flash, the aunt finished her portion. She lay back down on bed, but still felt hungry and longed for more. Waiting long, but the nephew still had not returned. She thought, the boy must have been given food. That's why it took him so long. If he's hungry, whether he gets ginger or not, he should come back soon. Thinking so, the aunt reluctantly took a small portion of the nephew's porridge to eat. She went out the door and looked around. Still no sign of her nephew. Maybe he's already eaten and is sitting by the fire. I can finish his porridge. With that thought, she felt reassured and took half of his portion. Until the nephew brought the ginger back home, there was only a little water left at the bottom of the bowl of porridge. The nephew asked the aunt. The aunt did not answer, but he could guess it all. The nephew cried loudly, feeling resentful and cursing at the aunt. After a while, the nephew picked up the bowl of porridge, placed it next to the aunt, pressed it against her mouth, and said in a sour tone, Just a little more. Take it, come on, take it. The next morning, until noon, not seeing the nephew wake up, the aunt approached, touching the nephew's body, only to find that the nephew had been gone for a long while. From then on, late in the night, people could hear the sound of a bird crying mournfully in the air. Take it, take it, take it, take it, take it. The bird's cry was steady, reminded of the days of hardship for the aunt and the nephew.